Okay, everybody, we're going to go over how to fill out this worksheet. So this is a two-part project. The worksheet is part one. The making of your atom plate is part two. So first things first, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down your element. And your element is your class number. And if you attended the Zoom, then you know your class number. And if you weren't there, then you need to look it up in the list. And I will post the list to Classroom. Okay, so I'm doing number 25. So I'm going to do manganese. So I'm going to write the name. And I am using page 7 of my planner, which has all of the information we need. The periodic table of elements is right here. And also you all got a worksheet. Okay, so the number of protons. Well, the number of protons is the atomic number. And if you look up here, each one of these elements has a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are not looking for the atomic weight. We're looking for the atomic number. And the atomic number on this periodic table of elements is above the symbol. And remember, this is the symbol and this is the name. So I'm doing 25. You're doing your class number. All right. So if my atomic number is 25, then that's the number of protons I have. So atomic number is the same number of protons. And here's the little helpful thing. It's also the same number of electrons. So my atomic number is 25, so my protons is 25, and my electrons are 25. Elements that are stable and behave themselves have the same number of protons as electrons. Okay? So that's how I find that. So it's the atomic number. So this would be the atomic number. I know it sounds fancy, but it's just the number of the element. So my element I'm doing is number 25, and so there it is, right there. Okay. So then the next is the atomic mass. And you guys, we're not doing anything that requires us to be super accurate. So my atomic mass it's really hard to see. Hopefully it's easier to see on... So on this one, they're a little easier to read on the worksheet that we gave you. So my 25 is 54.94. Okay, so that's the atomic weight. Atomic weight and atomic mass are the same thing. So my atomic weight or mass is 54.94. So I'm going to do myself a favor, and I'm going to round that to 55. Okay, so I'm just going to round it to 55. If we were actually doing something and we had to be super precise, of course we would use the real number, but we can just do that. So atomic weight is the same as atomic mass. Okay. So now, in order to find the number of neutrons, I'm going to take my atomic mass and I'm going to subtract my number of protons. So 55 minus 25 is 30. So I have 30 neutrons. So I take my atomic mass or weight and I subtract the number of protons and I get my number of neutrons. Okay. Okay. So protons and electrons are just the atomic number. Mass is that number with a decimal point rounded to the nearest whole number. And then you subtract your atomic mass minus either your electrons or your protons, because it's the same number, equals your number of neutrons. Okay. So now the next question is how many orbital rings? Okay. You can Google this. You can. I would actually recommend Googling it. Or you can draw it out. So here's what I'm going to do. Now, there's some rules. The first orbital, so here's my proton, here's my nucleus. And remember, the center of every atom is a nucleus. Okay, so it's got rings around it, kind of like Jupiter and Saturn. So the first ring can hold up to 2 electrons. All right, so there's 2. But I have 25, so I have to draw more. Okay, so the second ring can have 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 plus 8 is 10. Well, I have 25, so I have 15 more I've got to place. Now, if you Google it, it'll actually tell you how many electrons go on each shell. Or you can just make it up. So this one I'm going to put 8 is the 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This might not be true. We might be able to put more. I'm not sure. So 8 plus 2 is, hold on, my brain is thinking. I don't know. 8 plus 8 is 16 plus 2 is 18. I knew that. And then the rest go up here. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so now that I've placed them all, and the rings move outwards. Okay, so you start at the nucleus and you work your way out. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rings. Or shells, sometimes they're called shells. Okay, so I have 4 shells. Now, what you're going to do after you do this worksheet is you're going to go to Google Drive, go to Classroom, go to the assignment, follow the directions, and you're going to take a screenshot of this. And when you take a screenshot of it, you're going to send it to me, you're going to turn it in so I can double check your math. All right? So that's end of part 1. So once again, atomic number tells us the number of protons and the electrons. The atomic mass, which is also the same as the atomic weight, tells us the weight. And this one has the decimal point, so round to the nearest whole number. And then to find the number of neutrons, you take the atomic mass / weight minus the number of protons, and that gives you your number of nucleuses. And then you have to figure out your shells. If you're confused about the shells, Google it. Okay, so that's enough for part 1. All right, so make sure you turn it in because you can't go to part 2 without turning it in first.